So we are going to work on 5.4 problems. Most likely what's going to happen is we'll spend today and tomorrow like covering this just because it is a new concept and it follows a formula, but I tend to see that people like forget the formula and stuff like that. So we'll probably end up spending today and tomorrow on it. Thursday review of all four sections we've done at this point, and then a quiz on Friday. Okay. So these are the 5.4 examples. So we're going to start with 3 through 8, which is monomial factors. It says to factor the polynomial completely. So basically that just means taking out whatever the biggest thing is that we can so that there's nothing left in like the other factor that could be pulled out. Okay? In short, that's what we're doing. So starting with number 4, 30b cubed minus 54b squared. So when I look at something like this, I want to see what the biggest number I can pull out and the biggest variable I can pull out. Now, that does not always mean there will be a number or a variable that can be pulled out, but I want to check and try to find the biggest one. Obviously, if you have two even numbers, you always know at least a 2 can come out, okay? A lot of times a bigger number will, be able to, but. Okay, so 6 can come out for the numbers, and yes, b squared can come out. So 6b squared times, so what's left with these two when you take out a 6b squared? Hi. No, I have her now. Third. Yep. Interesting. Okay. All right, so we had 5b, and I don't know if y'all said what this piece is. I just got distracted. 9. Okay. So 6b squared times 5b minus 9. Okay, now that is factored completely. Okay. So the 6b squared taken out of 54b squared. Where will you be next period so that I know in case they ask me? Okay. Oftentimes they call and they'll say like, oh, did you have so-and-so or do you have so-and-so? I'm like, no, I had them last period. Oh, well, where are they now? Well, I think they're in such and such a class. They're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Alright, number 6, z cubed minus 6z squared minus 72z. Okay, so just so we don't get confused, okay, if we have just 2 terms, obviously we're only pulling something out of 2 terms. If we have all 3, we have to pull it out of all 3. Okay? Okay, so taking out a z, I'm left with what? Am I done? Are we sure? Hold on, I don't know. I'm not done. Okay, so just pulling something out and there's nothing else to be pulled out doesn't mean I'm done. I need to check and make sure it doesn't need to be factored then. So, because the goal is factor completely. So, what does this factor into? Okay. Well, as soon as you said the numbers, I just did it. And make sure you don't forget the z that you already pulled out, okay? And again, we can always FOIL to check it. Okay? So there's really no reason to get that wrong either. Okay? Especially when you have one that you're factoring something like this. Okay? Okay, if you, yeah, so I mean, you could do it, like, I could have had this intermediate step. I just usually don't write this. Okay, technically I could have done it this way, and then I could have done all the steps of pulling something out and blah, blah, blah. But if there's not a number in front of here, I can literally just write down my two factors in there and just make it faster and not have to write that step. But if you like to write this step, if you feel like you need to, you can do that. I just personally don't. Okay? Because I just think it's faster and it's like a shortcut. Alright, so it is your turn to try one. Number 8. 54m to the 5th plus 18m to the 4th plus 9m cubed. On your own paper. Till you can't do anything else to it. Sure. It doesn't matter. You can. I don't care. Alright. What do we get? Foil that back and tell me what you get. Yeah, it doesn't just disappear, okay? You're factoring it out, so it's still there. Okay, that's why I said if you don't know, distribute it back through, foil back through, depending on the situation, okay? I did attempt just to verify that there weren't any factors to, like, make this go any farther, and there were not, because 1 and 6, 2 and 3 don't add up to give me 2. So, I was done at that point. Well, multiply back through what you wrote then. Okay, so that's why you have to have the 1 there. Okay, so that's why distributing it back, foiling it back, stuff like that is always important. Okay, because you'd catch that and be like, oh, this isn't the same thing, and you'd realize it's supposed to be a 1. Alright, so the next step we're going to look at is the sum or difference of cubes, okay, which you should have written down in your notes, okay, the special factoring patterns for the sum and difference of cubes. Okay, remember SOAP, same, opposite, always positive. Okay, that's going to be your hint for your signs. So all you have to remember is what's going here. Okay, and if you can remember that, then your signs will just follow. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of these to make sure we're good with that. So, number 10, x cubed plus 8. Okay? So this is following the sum of cubes pattern, okay, because it's positive, it's being added. Okay, so notice this is a cubed plus b cubed. So we need to think about, okay, we have x cubed, and then this isn't cubed, so what is it? 2 cubed, okay? So we need to think about this as x cubed plus 2 cubed, okay? Because if you write 8 in here and then you were to foil this, super foil it back through, you're not going to get it, okay? So we're just writing down like the numbers or the variable where the stuff goes, okay? So I'm going to try to slide that there so we have it to look at for the moment. Okay, so in the first part, we have this factors into x plus 2. Okay, it's the first piece and the second piece. Okay, remember, again, it's not 8. It's whatever the cubed number is. Okay, times x squared. Now, this was the same sign. Now we need the opposite sign, so this one's minus. Okay, the first one times the second one. Okay, but obviously I want my variables to be on the back, so I'm going to write it as 2x. And then the last one is always positive. And then it's this number squared. So just for the sake of writing it right now, I'm going to do it that way. Okay, normally you don't need to write it as 2 squared. Okay, obviously you know 2 squared is 4. You can just go straight to that being 4. I'm just doing it so we see it as the first example. So x plus 2, x squared minus 2x plus 4. Is officially your answer. Okay? And again, you could superfoil it to go back through and check it and make sure that you did it right. I'm not going to for this point. But if you want to ensure you get it right, that's a good option to do. Okay? Alright. I'm taking this away because you should have it in your notes, and I don't really have room to leave it up here. So, 12. 27m cubed plus 1. So I need to rewrite this stuff in this form so that I make sure I write everything correctly over here. So, what is this? Nine cubed is not 27. Okay, so 3m, and then this whole thing is cubed. Okay, and then obviously rules of exponents means that that's 3 cubed and m cubed. Okay, plus, how about 1? Okay, that's just 1 cubed. Okay, 1 times 1 times 1 is still just 1. So now I need to follow the pattern, so let's see if somebody can walk me through what I need to write down. Sure. Okay, so and you don't, like if it's just a 1, you don't have to write it in there. Okay, you can if you want to, but you don't have to. And 1 squared is obviously just 1, so I'm just going to skip that. Now, I do need to go back through and actually multiply this. Now, you could have done that as you were, like, you know, as she was saying it, she could have told me that's 9m squared. Okay, and that would have been fine. But just getting used to following the pattern, it is good to write it, you know, write it out, the whole thing. So then we would want to rewrite it as 3m plus 1 times 9m squared minus 3m plus 1. Alright, let's jump to 16, and then I'll have you guys try one in just a minute. So 16, 192w cubed minus 3. No, we're doing this one together. Well, let's think about it. What is 5 cubed? What's 5 times 5? 5 times 5 is 25, okay? 5 cubed is 125, okay? So we know it's got to be bigger than that, okay? So you can keep trying. 8 works. Does everybody agree with her? $64 times 8 seems like a really big number. I'm thinking like maybe 7. And I still think 7 might be big. How about 6? 6 times 6 is 36. Okay. So this is 6W cubed. How about this? Can I not write it as the cube root of 3? The cube root of 3 cubed. I'm not bringing back the i's. 6 cubed does work. I'm doing the 3 now. The cube root. I'm taking the cube root of 3. And then cubing it. Okay? If I take the cube root of something and then I cube it, those cancel. So this is equal to 3. Okay? So this is how you can rewrite it. Okay? You're not likely to get one that's this hard. That's why I decided to do this one as a class instead of having you guys do this one on your own. Okay? So it's still just going to follow a pattern. Okay? So what do I write in? Well, I guess that didn't work then. Well, Aiden has informed us that 6 cubed didn't work. So if 5 didn't work, sorry, I didn't hear you. So if 5 didn't work, 36 times 6 is what? Okay. So, no, it has a solution. What could I have done here first? I think it's worth a try. Take out a 3 and see what happens. What is it, Aiden? Okay. So I'm taking out a 3, so I have 64W cubed minus 1. That seems a little more reasonable, right? Because y'all told me that it was 6 cubed. Everybody but apparently Joelle and Aiden told me that it was 6 cubed. I just did not hear Joelle at all. Alright, so, how can I rewrite 64? Okay? 4 cubed, W cubed, okay, or whatever. I just wrote it that way. Minus 1 cubed, okay? We got to make sure we keep this 3 out front, okay? So I have 3 times, and then now I need to fill in all the stuff. So what do I put here now? Same sign first. Okay, same sign first, so 4W minus 1. 16W squared, then I heard opposite sign, so that means it's going to be positive. I heard always positive, so that's positive, and then the last thing. And now I'm done. Okay, so if you have something that's weird, A, I would check it to make sure that you're picking the right number. Okay, and then B, really what you should always do as your first step is see if there's anything that can be factored out. Okay, we should have really checked that when we saw, especially when we saw that 3 was not something that was a perfect cube. Okay, something that we should have checked, and honestly that was my bad. I just thought they were giving us a really weird one because I just took everybody's word for it that 6 cubed was 192, and just, you know, so it's fine. But that's a good learning tool, okay, to see that, hey, we made a mistake, we realized this is weird, and we went back and checked it. And obviously, had we multiplied all this stuff through, we would have realized this didn't work. And so we would have had to, well, unless we still thought that 6 times 36 was 192. Then we might not have caught the mistake. But, anyways. Yeah, we would have super foiled the check, and we would have realized that it was wrong. So what I would do is I would actually ignore the 3 initially, so I would do each piece here. And then I would probably simplify everything together, and then I would multiply it all by 3. I mean, you can do it the other way. Like, you can multiply 3 times this stuff and then do it all through. It's really up to you. As long as you get everything in there, you can do it in whatever order you want. Y'all ready to try one? This one's not a weird one, I promise. I think so. I think it's fine. No, you definitely can't just wear but I think if you wear them. No. And no onesies, pajama pants. Several years ago. Well, they're not supposed to be worn. So. Alright, 27a cubed minus 1,000. So y'all do this one on your own. Yeah, I'm done. You ask. Very carefully. Yeah, and then everybody that ever watches this video will hear it. This one is very similar to number 12. Okay, do we have an answer? Okay, what do we have? Okay, so 27a cubed is 3a, all of that cubed, and then 1000 is 10 cubed. Okay, and then it's just filling in the spots, okay, following the pattern. 3a minus 10 times 9a squared plus 30a plus 100. 3 times 10 times a. Alright. So now we're going to do factor by grouping. Okay, this is the last thing we're going to do today, and then I'll give you a couple problems to get started on, and then we'll finish up the section tomorrow with the last couple problems. Alright, 18 x cubed plus x squared plus x plus 1. Okay, so with factor by grouping, what's happening is we're putting the first two terms together and the last two terms together. Okay, that's the grouping. And we're going to pull out the biggest thing from each group that we can. Okay, so I can pull out an x squared over here. So, if I pull out an x squared, what am I left with? Okay, x plus 1. What can I pull out here? Okay, And that leaves me with what? X plus 1. Okay? If these two things right here don't match, you've done something wrong. Okay? She said, I'm sorry. She didn't even actually listen to what I said. I'm a little confused, but it's fine. Okay, so if these two things don't match, you've done something wrong. Okay? So, then I'm going to put these two pieces together times only writing this once. So, this is written x squared plus 1 times x plus 1. You have, but I don't know if you've formally been taught that this is actually factored by grouping, or if you were just taught to just do it. This is like the step after that. This is like the first factoring step. Next year's going to be really unfortunate then. No, because I'll be out for 7 days. Starting September 30th. No, yeah, September 30th. A whole week. Hopefully Hawaii, but I just want to swim with some dolphins, if I'm being honest. All right. On that note, okay, here's the next one. What can I pull out of the first two pieces? Okay, n squared leaving me with what? N plus 5. And then from the second part, okay, negative 9, which leaves me with n plus 5. So then I have a question. Am I done? The instruction said to factor completely. Okay? This is a difference of squares. This factors into n plus 3, n minus 3, and then the n plus 5. Okay? So always check that. Okay, again, it says factor completely, so you don't want to miss factoring something out. Alright, are y'all ready to try one on your own? Well, just to try one of these, and then I'll give you some problems to start on. Alright, 22. 25s cubed minus 100s squared minus s plus 4. Make sure the stuff matches. If it doesn't match, figure out what you need to do to make it match. And make sure once you get your answer that it is factored completely. Multiplying. What are you talking about? Alright, let's go over it so you guys have some time to start on some problems. Okay, they aren't due tomorrow. They're just, I want you to get started on them, and then you'll add a couple more problems to it tomorrow. Alright, anybody get an answer? Okay, what do we have? Does anybody agree with her? I agree with her. Does anybody disagree with her? Okay, so you take out the 25s squared, okay, leaving you with s minus 4. Okay, I look at this and I realize I need it to look like this because there's no numbers, no variables that I can pull out. So I'm like, how do I get it to look like this? I can take out a -1. That gives me s minus 4. Okay, and then now these do match. So then I write down the stuff that's outside and then one of the ones that's already inside. And then this is a difference of squares. Okay, so then that factors into 5s plus 1 and 5s minus 1 times s minus 4. I tried to make my s's look more like s's in my answer, but I mainly just made them bold. Alright, any questions about any of this? Alright, let's see. Problems then. Seven, 11, 15, there's your 5, Lorelei, and 21. Okay, obviously with this stuff, if you don't feel like you're still quite understanding it, especially with the factoring, the sum or difference of cubes, okay, I would do a couple more odd ones, okay, but these are the only ones that you need to do for me to check them.